All right. Can you got me? You hear me?
Oh yeah, you hear me?
Oh, cool. We're bringing Shane in. All right. Okay, so we can continue, or we can kind of continue on UFC 263 if you guys want. Just whatever y'all want to do. Or we could jump on the Triller thing.
I don't know, man. I'm afraid of the ghost of Nate Diaz, so I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Shane, are you there? Shane.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No audio.
Shane will fix it. Michael, let's talk about Triller while Shane's fixing his audio. You know, Delahoya and
Oh God.
Belfort.
Oh, shoot me in the face. Man, I get it, and I kind of don't get it, and I kind of hate it all at the same time. I mean, it's just, I guess I gotta say, maybe it's the product of the social media age that we're in now. That I don't know what is happening to boxing, what is happening to the combat sports space with all these, celebrity boxing used to be like such a sideshow thing in like the early 2000s with like Tanya Harding would box like I don't know some other like C-list celebrity or something. But now it's like all these retired fighters are getting into what feel kind of like a celebrity boxing match, like this a glorified exhibition where the amount of money both guys are making is part of the spectacle of it. Like, can you believe that Floyd Mayweather is making like another gajillion dollars fighting like a YouTube celebrity? And everybody's just hopping on. Like every MMA fighter, every UFC fighter wants to fight, one of these, stupid YouTubers. Um, if they wanted to pay me to announce it, I would. So.
Yeah, I mean, you'd jump on something like that if Triller came looking to you to do it, wouldn't you?
I guess I'm part of the problem then.
No, I mean, I don't think there's any problem. I mean,
Can you hear me?
yeah. I hear you, Shane. You got something to say about it?
I mean, I don't watch them because it's not I don't feel it's a real competition. It's, years ago, back when Pancrase was a big deal still, you remember when Sugar Ray Leonard put on a fight combat thing? And it ended up being choreographed fight. You remember that? Oh my God, I paid money for that shit. I was so pissed. And I feel like, yeah, there might be a little bit of entertainment value, but it ain't getting my money. I'll watch the highlights.
Right, but it seems like this has legs. I mean, now we're on to our third match. You got Jake Paul and Askren, then you have Logan Paul and Mayweather. Now you got this one. It seems like this stuff has a lot of legs to it, and there's a lot of MMA guys that want in on it.
Oh, that's better. I accidentally had a filter on.
But don't you think so? It feels like it has legs as far as a competitive.
I mean, because a lot of people don't give a shit. I mean, WWE's still a fucking thing. I mean, I used to be a fan, but damn, like, The Rock's gone. It ain't funny anymore. Like...
Yeah, but it just seems like there's a lot of MMA guys who are saying, look, we're willing to be a part of this format. If you want to have
because
MMA.
not a lot of them are getting that 500K check.
Yeah.
They're not negotiating themselves good deals. They're getting there early. They're taking what's given to them. Nobody wants to build a career like and really earn it and be able to have that good bartering power. Pardon me. They want to have 10 fights and be like, I'm a UFC fighter. Well, how much is that really worth when you're coming in down that low? What is that truly worth to the organization? What's your marketability? How many people are really watching and buying your merchandise? Or are you just filling a card?
Right.
I mean, that's a very important factor that everybody just wants big money, but what is your real drawing power? That's what it boils down to.
I mean, if you're an undercard fighter on the UFC, and if you're not some really long in the tooth veteran, you're not making a lot. After every event, after every pay-per-view, we see the numbers that come out of the pay for these guys, and some of these guys are still making 35 and 35 or something like that. It's like, Jesus, that's not a lot of money to get your face smashed in for a living. And I don't know what Askren made, or when he fought somebody like Robbie Lawler, but he made probably way more getting punched in the face by Jake Paul, even though he actually got knocked out by Jake Paul. But Shane, what is your, I will defer to you over and over again as the one with the fighting experience here. What, in the highlights that you've seen, what is your assessment of Jake Paul's striking prowess?
I'm going to share a personal experience here, because this is really true, and my son told me if I ever done an Instagram Live, I should say this. So I had heard Jake Paul, Logan Paul. I had heard about the shitty thing Logan Paul did with the dead person or something. Yeah. That's about what I knew about it. And then I found out Jake Paul was his brother, and they're famous YouTubers. I might have watched one video. I give a shit less about those guys. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that culture. But I heard so much about them. I heard they were trying to fight MMA fighters. Me being a fighter, I was like, oh, here's some training clips. And I watched those guys, and I was like, I had a very humbling moment, because I went through a divorce. I went through depression. I've been gotten out of shape and shit. And I was like, holy shit, the Jake Paul brothers could legitimately kick my ass. And I'm a brown belt, 45 years old, and I've trained jiu-jitsu for 20 plus years. But I had that humbling moment, and my ass has been back in the gym for 6 months now, consistently, like every day, because I'm trying to get a Jake Paul match on Fight to Win or something, and get like several in a grappling match. I'm too old to get punched, but I will get in shape to choke him out, just because he talks so much shit. Because I could grapple pretty all right, but I wasn't in shape for it, so I legitimately had to accept that he would kick my ass at that stage of my life, and I didn't like it. That's a true story.
Yeah, Henry Cejudo kind of alluded to that. Henry does have a boxing background outside of wrestling, and I'm not trying to upset people here, but if Woodley doesn't have more than a right hand, then Jake Paul should be able to deal with that. With his
they're rich. They get to train. They're young. They're they're young kids that they can. He's got a good right hand. Decent fundamentals. I didn't see the Floyd Logan Paul fight.
That one, he's not as sound, I would say. Logan is not.
So yeah. So they're not untrained, but no, they're not high level, but they're marketability, guys. That's what it is. People want to see what they're going to do. People want to see it.
Right.
So they're still going to be able to draw in views and get paid. So I don't think the hardcore people like me give a shit about it, or I shouldn't say hardcore, more like old school. I don't follow every fight and every card. It has to be something pretty intriguing for me to give a shit.
And now it seems as though they have reached a certain what's the phrase? Like a takeoff velocity. Am I saying that right? Where their success just continues to beget more success. Like people want to watch because a lot of people want to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live. Go ahead.
Interest in fights now is strictly technique. Like what is the contrast? And I feel like this format allows for a lot of weirdness that we would normally see. Like Belfort. I'm intrigued because I want to, if they're going to try to win, I want to see if Delahoya can even get himself ready for this kind of match, and can he use his experience to have some success or maybe even win the match. He probably should, on paper, probably shouldn't win the match.
I totally disagree. I think De La Hoya, on paper, absolutely should win this match.
Oh, you do? Belfort's going to be
100%. 100% on paper, that's De La Hoya's fight. A boxing match, Belfort gets tired too. Every fight he gets tired.
I just think it's going to be not quite to the extent of the disparity of skills between Mayweather and Logan Paul, but it's Oscar De La Hoya. He has a lifetime of boxing skills that are stacked up. And I think I'll say now, even if he comes in wasted off of 5 gin martinis and has a belly and is wearing his fishnets, he should still box the ears off of Vitor Belfort.
But that's what I'm talking about. Contrast, Belfort's going to be huge, probably.
He's going to be juiced. We're going to get TRT Vitor, man.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to have some kind of weight limit.
Yeah, but he's going to be bigger than De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? Probably 170, 190? You think he's going to come in 215?
I mean, didn't he fight at light heavy in the UFC?
He left the UFC as a 185er.
Yeah.
He's very small, so.
I think his highest weight was maybe 150 something.
Well, but that was when he was in the peak of his career. I'm sure De La Hoya, from the looks of him, he's a little bloated. He's probably been walking around 190.
Maybe.
But in shape, he's going to be smaller than Belfort if he gets in shape.
Yeah.
But he could eat really strong and just say, hey, I'm going to keep on this lean size because he's still going to be faster. De La Hoya was a great boxer. I watched a lot of boxing. I don't know how much y'all watched, but I've watched Julio Cesar Chavez, all back when he had 70 fights. I watched a lot of boxing. And De La Hoya was a terrific boxer, like really just so fundamentally and technically sound. I watched a lot of his fights.
So. Yeah, I mean, he gave Floyd a run for his money, man.
Yeah.
At the end of his career, just all off Floyd.
And Floyd was in his prime.
Right.
And that was a good fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm intrigued by the whole format and everything. To me, it allows for some of what Pride did, where you're kind of like, what's going to happen here?
Well, I was trying to make that point earlier. Japan's been giving us these fights for years.
Yeah.
I mean, they did, Ali, Inoki, and all that. So it's definitely, it's got the circus appeal. You're going to get to see it. I imagine we'll see some great fights where the guys really show up and want to kick each other's ass. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see some that are going to be just snoozers, people getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, how far could they take this, or how much could they do with it? Because it doesn't seem to be going away.
I don't think they know, but I think they're just these guys are just gonna keep riding it out and see where it goes.
What you say? One every 6 months, 3 to 6 months.
They're going to have a 2-day music festival, and this is going to be part of the.
Really?
It's a Sunday music festival, and the event is Saturday.
I mean, these guys are already in terms of. I mean, what did Jake Paul make for knocking out Ben Askren? And what did Logan get for fighting Floyd? I mean, these guys are already, they could already walk away, and they're both like 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're both already multimillionaires, like well over it. They're in there to just make some money, and they must want to punch people. I mean, I guess that's kind of why I fought.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can get paid some good money, entertain, build my brand. Because they're all about building their brand. That's all they care about. Like, Look at Jake Paul can literally say now he knocked out the one champion UFC fighter Ben Askren. Like, legitimately slept his ass. I would hate for that to happen. So that's why I'm trying to grapple him.
Imagine if he beats Woodley, then he has the one champion and the UFC welterweight champion.
He could very well knock Woodley's ass out. Very well.
He's a lot bigger.
Was Woodley? Well, Woodley gets pretty thick, even though he fights at 170. So Jake Paul weighed 190 for the boxing match. I imagine Woodley walks around 190, 200.
Yeah, but also the height and the reach. I mean, Jake
Well,
Paul's like
Willie's just going to
6'1".
lay on the fence like it's the cage and try to land that one punch.
Oh God,
He's liable to
God help
get
him.
pieced up with some combos and slept. I think it's a very winnable fight for Jake Paul. Not as winnable as Ben Askren was,
Right.
because Woodley can legitimately knock him out, does have some good hands, but he hasn't shown the killer instinct lately. He's played it safe and like, maybe if I land the one punch, I'll win.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just intrigued by it. I can't really tell you why, but
Yeah.
so
It
Michael,
is intriguing.
event coming up, do you know?
I do have an event coming up. I have an event coming up on July 30th, Warriors Cup in New York City, Muay Thai. And Warriors Cup was just in the middle of a metamorphosis of coming under new management, and then COVID began. And I was supposed to do an event with them March of 2020, and then COVID happened and everything shut down. So they're coming back finally this end of July, and they're going to do an event right outside of New York. And yeah.
Yeah, because Shane was doing a little bit of reffing too
Oh, great.
before. I don't.
Years ago, I haven't reffed in a while.
Yeah, but kind of interesting because both of you are still kind of have experience in those areas of the sport as well. Michael, as someone who's doing it, who's kind of new, do you feel like it's picking up again for you, or?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm excited to have events on the calendar again. I also work with Friday Night Fights in New York City. They do events downtown Manhattan, and I'm sure they're going to be coming back soon. And I'm just looking forward to getting in a ring again and getting a microphone in my hand.
And Shane, you're still training, and where did you go back to training at?
I've just been going to the regular gym right now, but I am planning on getting back on the mats. So I wasn't going to go back and just let him take advantage of me. I'm getting in a little shape to go back before I just walk in there. I'm still going to get throttled because it's been a couple years, but it's not going to. I'm going to at least have a little bit wind behind me. They got to work for it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, we got all this stuff going on. You know, McGregor and Poirier are going to fight again next month. What do you guys think about that one? So we'll talk about that a little bit.
Oh, I'm excited for it.
So
I'm excited for it. I really wish they would have done it at 170.
Really?
But yeah, because they did it at 45, then they did it at 55. They both fought at 170. They've both already fought at 170. So it would have made it kind of cool for the trilogy to have it across all three weight classes. Probably been the first people to do that. Would have had some better marketability. Dana, send me a check. Anyways, but then they were like, of course, McGregor's like, no, because if he wins, he gets the title shot. That's more money in his pocket versus a 170 fight. So he nixed that. And I understand that, but it would have been really cool. I thought it was hilarious that Poirier tweeted, because I thought this immediately. He said he figures McGregor's strategy is to use the calf kick on him, and I 100% that's what I thought McGregor's really going to try to do. Hopefully it's something else. You know, the fight's a toss-up again, to be honest. I really like Poirier. I like McGregor because he's a real dude. He created his own, thing, and he's won the titles. He's been at the top of the top, and that's great. But I think the fight favors Poirier a little bit. He's just a gritty veteran, and he has a little bit more heart. We see McGregor tap time and again when the going gets tough. If you just watch the Diaz fight, it was 2 punches and the choke was sunk. He didn't have to give his back up that easy. I had a guy mounted on me for the better part of 3 rounds before I finally tapped, and I'm not nowhere near those guys level. So when the going gets tough, he gives up, and we saw Poirier dig down and win in a war. Like, that dude's got heart. And I'll always respect those guys over the performers. Because that's what...
Poirier's tough, Nate. I think he doesn't really start fighting until there's been some blows landed on each other.
Right.
Then he starts to fight, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's Poirier's MO is always that he's a little bit of a slow starter. He likes to feel out. He likes to gauge his distance. I mean, like many guys do. I mean, that's, I picked McGregor to win in the second fight because I thought stylistically, it's going to be not much different. McGregor goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and he's going to blast him again. And that's not what happened. And the most interesting angle, I think, going into the third fight here is McGregor's no more Mr. Nice Guy angle now. So now I'm just like, oh, it's old Conor. Old Conor's back. It's going to be vintage Conor. So we'll see.
I'm going to be a little bit critical right now of some of the... I don't understand how McGregor gets tired at 2.5, 3 rounds. He's near a billionaire now, and like he's putting in the training and he looks phenomenal, but this guy still gets tired. You got these other guys at 170 or 155, they can go hard 5 rounds. McGregor doesn't have that in him, and several of the other people in the top 10 do, and that's what you have to be a champion. You can have the one-hitter quitter, but if you don't have the longevity to fight through it when you don't knock them out, you're not going to stay at the top. You're going to win the title once and again because you can knock somebody out. I think one thing Poirier doesn't get credit for, I mean, people say he's a good striker, and he is, but they don't realize he strikes from some kind of awkward angles. He fights and boxes with like some conventional technique, but for some reason I see that his punches come from a little bit more awkward angles than the traditional people that fight and throw the strikes he throws. It's kind of, if I don't know if anyone else sees that, but it looks that way to me. Or maybe it's just his physiology makes it look like that. But I seem, I think the fight favors him. And if he's smart, he's going to box and strike conservatively, look for counters early on, and start turning it on at the end of the third round, and say, all right, from here on out, I'm going to take you out in the 4th round. I think that should be his strategy. To get in a firefight with McGregor is not wise. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, McGregor may never have the stamina. Maybe he's just not durable in that way.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the heart, literally.
Yeah. It's possible. I mean, Shane, I'm sure you knew some guys back. Remember, like, I can think of some guys that you trained with specifically, like James Christian. Remember James Christian at Mikey's?
Right.
Tough guy. Everybody in the gym said, oh, this guy's tough, One thing about this guy is he's tough, I mean, McGregor's very skilled, but I don't know if he's tough.
My mom used to joke with me that I wasn't tough. I just didn't want to get hurt.
And then you became an MMA fighter.
Yeah, exactly. So I can kind of, I don't ever consider myself tough. Tom Jones, that's like who I say a tough son of a bitch.
Or Mikey. Mikey.
Yeah, tough, gritty guys. I never thought of myself as a tough guy. But I also, I don't fight like a pussy though. I'm there to win.
Them who are more like, they may have all the skill in the world, but they're not necessarily tough. And I think that might be McGregor's situation. I mean, he has fought through some adversity. I think he has. He has. I'll give him that. Yeah. But
I don't think we'll ever see him really, like win. He's not going to win the type of fight that Gaethje and Dustin Poirier put on.
Oh my God, one of the best.
He's going to in that fight. he doesn't have the heart to make it that long into the fight to dig that deep to pull out one of those wins. Because even, at the final blow of that, either one of them were still toe for toe able to win up till the final blow.
Yeah, and I think the greats have to have that, the true greats.
I was just going to make a similar point, yeah.
100%.
And what would it do for Conor's legacy if this trilogy fight with Poirier is like a 4 or 5 round just barn burner, and they're both just battered and bloodied, and Conor, finally, stuns Poirier enough in like the late 4th round and finishes him. I mean, man, that nothing would do more for McGregor's legacy, which is already a tremendous legacy, but nothing would do more for his legacy than a performance in a fight like that.
You're right. I guarantee you, all kinds of people come out and say, "I didn't know he had that in him."
Absolutely.
100%.
But to your point, Shane, it probably isn't going to work out like that because he's never been in a fight like that, and maybe that part of that is to his credit because so many of his wins have come by early finish. So many, like almost every one of his wins when he was coming up.
Yeah,
like I said,
played Mayweather. He had some fights where he had to brawl to win.
Yeah,
and there were some. If you look back over some of his fights, he fought a guy. I think Emmanuel Burton was his name, or where he had to brawl to beat him, and he had some other fights where he had to do that a bit.
Yeah,
to win the fights. And, there were some that people thought he lost. I think I'm trying to remember the first fight that they thought he was defeated. But he's had some tough fights like that where he had to fight through adversity. And I've never seen – McGregor did that a little bit in the second Diaz fight because there were some times where that fight wasn't going his way. But there's some people who thought he lost that fight.
I thought he lost it.
Yeah, so I think – has he fought through adversity successfully?
Debatable.
Yeah.
debatable.
It is.
Debatable. Like, I mean, I don't mean to sound very, discrediting. Again, McGregor goes in there and he fights and he generally gives us a good show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mind paying for his pay-per-views. I pay for it because it's like Triller. The entertainment value is there regardless. But I wouldn't say I don't generally root for the guy. I look for him to get drowned in deep water because, I don't know, maybe it's just the competitor in me, even though I never even got close to any kind of that level. Just like, man, you're not there to really throw it on the line, I guess.
Right. I mean, it's similar because Conor has been so successful. Yeah, I find myself I don't remember a time that I have ever really rooted for him, and I feel the same way about John Jones. Like he gets to a level of success where I'm like, man, I just want for someone to show that this guy's human. I just want someone to punch him in the face.
I got a hashtag that I like to use a lot. Hashtag full-time hater. I tend to see myself doing that as well. John Jones, I'm not a big fan. Even when, although I know most of the time when he's going to win, I can't remember the last time I really thought he was going to lose.
Yeah.
But, I thought he lost the Gustafsson fight, and I thought he was going to lose the rematch, but just because I thought Gustav looked really good in the first fight, even though, it was debatable if who won that one. I didn't judge it. But, generally we know John's going to win. To be honest, I hate his guts too.
I'm right. You just want somebody to prove that he's human.
He's been in tough fights.
Yeah.
Now, some that he may have potentially lost, but he kept trying.
Yeah.
Fights.
Yeah, and I will give John that. He still tries to win. He gets in there and fights, so I would definitely give him that.
Yeah.
So.
Guys, I got to go help my wife put my 4-month-old down.
You guys taking the time, man. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Shane, great to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too, buddy. I think I gave you a follow. So
cool, man. Likewise, I'll do the same.
Shane,
appreciate it, Todd.
And if you guys want to,
say again.
What's that?
We'll do this again if you guys want to sometime. Maybe have a good
for sure, buddy.
Dude, anytime.
All right. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
Mhm.